everybody, it's Randy.
And I'm Kristen.
And we're coming to you live from the Crossing Ken Garage. Yes, we're back in the garage today. It's a cloudy, overcast, kind of a foggy day. Just enough to give us breathing room in the Crossing Ken Garage. So we're coming back to you live from your happy place, the Crossing Ken Garage. Thanks so much for joining us.
We've officially entered October, otherwise known as spooky season, the time of year when monsters and terrors of all sorts grace your entertainment era.
Or if you happen to notice, Christmas happens at the stores.
This is true.
It happens. That's scary too, just that it's coming out so early. But we've got a great show lined up for you today, as we are going to be your dynamic duo in displaying all things evil Disney.
We are counting down our top 10 scariest Disney villains. Now let me qualify this. These are villains that legit give us a scare. These are folks that we don't necessarily appreciate for entertainment, all of certain villains like Gaston. We find these people legit pretty terrifying. Now, there are some on this list that we like because they are entertaining, but it's our list. We make the rules.
And it's our garage. So, welcome. We're glad you're here. Thanks for being a part of the family here at Crossing Ken.
These are probably the characters we also miss most from modern Disney.
Without doubt. It's like Disney woke up one day, pun completely intended, and decided we're not going to do evil anymore. Well, Disney were purveyors of evil, and I mean evil in a great storytelling way. In their classic films, you always knew who the good guys were and who the bad guys were. There was no muddling of the defining or anything like that. However, we don't want to be political in this particular video. We'll save more for that when election season comes along. So,
we just want to say Disney hasn't had a proper villain since Tamatoa, and to a certain extent, Te Kā in Moana. Moana came out in 2016, I believe.
Now, they have an opportunity. We recently saw the trailers for a film called Wish. And it looks, just on the outside, it looks like Disney is returning to some of their classic storytelling feats in having diametrically opposed characters. One good, one absolutely evil. Now, we have to take this moment for just a second and give high praise to Disney. We recently saw the Haunted Mansion film. Go to the theaters, if it's still playing right now. I doubt it. It's probably on Disney Plus by this point. But we recently saw it, and it is a return to classic Disney storytelling. Thank you so very much.
Creators and writers and director, whoever had a hand in Haunted Mansion, you did beautifully.
Stream this thing, buy this thing. It is a return. Well, Pirates of the Caribbean was the last Disney film that we really enjoyed this much. And it harkens back to some of the 70s and even 80s live actions Disney films. Disney, not Touchstone, but Disney films. In their storytelling, in their departure from reality, so to speak. But we're not here to talk about...
And it has a proper villain.
And it has a proper villain, without doubt. That's true. So, go see Haunted Mansion in whatever form you deem necessary. But now, on with the show. We start today with our honorable
mention.
Yeah, well, there should probably be dishonorable mentions. Our dishonorable mention begins with the Rescuers Down Under's evil, crazy man with a gun, McLeach.
He's a poacher, and despite being set in Australia, he's seemingly American, but I already did a minor rant on that in our Disney video. Be sure to check it out somewhere above our heads. He's freaky. And he's singing the whole time. That's what kind of makes him scary to me. He's just jaunty, happy. I'm going to go kill these animals for their pelts. Like, dude!
Next.
Dishonorable
mention from the movie, one of our favorite animated films, Tangled, is Mother Gothel. Mother knows best.
That was very good, Daddy.
Thank you very much.
She is one of the more recent Disney villains. In fact, she is the most recent Disney villain on our list today. And she really needs no explanation for why she's on the list. She's a psychopath. She's terrifying.
Manipulative. She's destined to try and gain power. She just wants to manipulate. And you're okay with
How
what
she
happens
ends.
in her ending. Up next, you must be prepared for this Disney villain. Harkening back to The Lion King, the Disney great Lion King, comes Scar. Voiced by
Jeremy Irons.
Jeremy Irons. A brilliant voice casting for this particular thing. And surrounding him with Cheech Marin and Whoopi Goldberg, and I failed to remember
Jim Cummings.
Jim Cummings, that's right.
Who
as
also
the hyena.
subbed in a little bit during Be Prepared. Jeremy Irons threw his voice out, so Jim Cummings had to finish singing that for him.
Mr. Cummings, we're awesomely inspired and entertained, and props, dude. You just got the voice to do everything.
Scar, his design, they made sure that he stood out from the other lions. Like, you never doubted for a second that this guy was going to throw Mufasa off the cliff. There was zero doubt. Ever.
Again, manipulation plays a big role in all of these Disney evil villains. He's scary, though. I mean, from his looks, with the scar across his face, he's scary. So, but to go back
our
to fourth honorable mention, let's go back to the granddaddy or grandmommy of them all, the evil queen.
Bless her heart, she's probably both underrated and overlooked as a Disney villain anymore because we had the Renaissance with all of the others, but dadgum Disney knew how to come out swinging with their villains.
Sleeping Beauty?
Snow
White.
There you go.
Okay.
She was the very first evil villain.
Very first evil. And you had no doubt in your mind from the opening scene that she's in, evil
woman. Like, this is the lady that hired a dude to cut out a 14-year-old girl's heart. The evil queen, in both her proper queenly form as well as her hag form, is wow. Disney came out swinging with their first villain.
And set a template for all of their villains going forward. Yes. So, and our final honorable mention is Frollo.
Frollo. Judge Claude Frollo from The Hunchback of Notre Dame. When the movie starts with a man killing a young mother, you know that there is zero hope for redemption with this dude. And he winds up ultimately losing his mind and dying in one of the more horrible Disney ways.
Definitely evil from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
Just, get to the... I'd never seen Hunchback until this past summer. And I was amazed at how well I really liked it. And part of that is the evilness of the bad guy. Because he is... The hero in the film is so you're so sympathetic towards him, and that sympathy is balanced very well with the hatred that you feel for Frollo as the film goes on. Props to Kevin Kline for being the hero, quote unquote.
Tony Jay is who voiced Frollo, and actually he had to step outside of his comfort zone because the directors didn't want to have to dub him. They were already dubbing Demi Moore. They didn't want to have to dub him for the villain song Hellfire. So they're like, you can hit this last note. You can hit this last note. It was way up out of his bass range. And they're like, you can do it, dude. And so Tony Jay sang his whole way through Hellfire. And that is probably one of the most terrifying.
Yeah, absolutely terrifying Disney villain songs. So
if those are our honorable mentions, who on earth is in our top 10?
I'm scared.
As well we should be. Again, please remember, this is mine and Dad's opinion based on who scares us.
This is a very subjective scale, okay?
Yes.
These are our top 10 Disney villains. Who do you find scary? Maybe we missed somebody. Please comment below.
We're also not including sidekicks. I forgot to mention that at the start. We're not including henchmen / sidekicks.
Okay. Text us below with the villain and the film they were in.
That way, if just in case we don't quite remember it, we can go check it out.
Awesome.
Cool beans? Awesome.
We look forward to
Let's
hearing
go.
from you.
Number 10, we
Here we
have
go.
the Horned King from The Black Cauldron. Voiced by John Hurt. Mr. Ollivander himself, or if you're a Merlin fan, the voice of the Great Dragon. This dude's design alone is enough to send chills down your spine. Put John Hurt's British scary ghost voice that he gives the dude. This guy sends chills down your spine from the word jump. Now, as I mentioned in my Disney list ranking, this film does lose something because the Horned King often has to go, "Bring me that pig," and that just kind of evaporates all tension. But my goodness, the design, the voice, and the whole world domination of the Horned King's plan is enough to make you maybe want to leave a light on trying to go to sleep.
And that's from which film?
The Black Cauldron.
The Black Cauldron. Next, we have Scroop.
He is from Treasure Planet. Dad has still yet to see Treasure Planet. That is something I am going to try to get him to do before the end of the year. Put down in the comments how much you want him to see it, or leave us a like so we know that Dad really needs to see it.
Or tell us, we didn't really care for it. We really want your opinions. But
Treasure
if
Planet's awesome.
Treasure Planet
Anyway,
fans,
Scroop. He is, the best way to describe him is a spider crab with a horrifyingly menacing voice.
that's scary.
Yeah. Scarier than John Hurt voice. I don't know who voices him. I'm sorry. But people like to say that Long John Silver is the villain of Treasure Planet. No. No. Long John Silver has nothing on Scroop. Scroop legit commits murder within the first hour of this film and kind of revels in it. He's a pirate through and through. He is more scary than anybody else in the film, and that's saying something given the designs of some of these characters in Treasure Planet. So yeah, Scroop gave me nightmares the first time I saw him. Again, Dad has yet to see Treasure Planet, but I was able to convince him that Scroop belonged on our top 10.
He comes in at number 9.
Alright, number 8, Shan Yu, the villain from Mulan. Since I took yours, you want to take some of this one?
Mulan is one of those films that you really weren't expecting to like as much as you really liked. Shan Yu is terrifying. He is the leader of the Huns at the time. He's absolutely terrifying, especially in that final scene where he's coming over the hill. His eyes are
Yeah, they give him glowing
Sorry.
eyes. They give him like fangs, and his hands, when he doesn't have his gloves on, look like they have points on them, so it looks like he's got claws.
The animators did a really, really good job in making him very animalistically evil.
Also voiced by Miguel Ferrer.
Awesome.
The late, great Miguel Ferrer. For those of you who remember Granger from NCIS LA. And he had a long storied career before LA, but that's what we know him from. Died 5 years ago?
Something like that,
6
yeah.
years ago. We miss him dearly, and he did a great job voicing the terrifying Shan Yu.
Comes in at number 8. And number 7. Now, you may not have known this name for a very, 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 very long time, because I'm not sure that the name ever even comes up, but maybe once or twice in the entirety of the film.
The fairies say it once or twice.
Number 7 is Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty. That's right.
She was also the first Disney villainess to get her live-action remake, played by Angelina Jolie.
Pretty well, as I'm told.
Depends.
Again, you know that, and
It's
that's one of those.
subjective.
That's one of those classic animated films that you're like, okay, yeah, okay.
It wasn't that high on either of our Disney lists, but that is not any fault of Maleficent.
Without a doubt, Maleficent is a incredibly evil character, and you just, from the moment that you see her in the film, you want things to happen to her that are unsurly.
That, or you just want to hide under your covers
Yeah.
and say a little prayer. Make the dragon go away.
Stop the villainy.
The dragon with the green fire. She has probably one of the more unique designs of any animated dragon.
Kudos to the animators for Maleficent for one thing, but the dragon that she becomes later on as well.
The green fire just kind of adds to the terror of Maleficent.
Right.
And just, oh my goodness. And she's relentless. Like, she spends, 16 years hunting this princess and then tries to kill Philip and just, give the lady props. She is relentless.
Vanity. All is vanity. Coming in at number 7, Maleficent for Sleeping Beauty.
All right. Number 6.
We're really getting to some scary, scary things. So if you need to get your comfort blanket or comfort critter or, something to kind of keep you from gnawing your fingernails off, go and do that right now. Press pause. Go and get your comfort thingy.
All right. Coming in at number 6, we have probably one of the coolest Disney villain, and he brings some friends with him.
Are you ready?
Are you ready? We are, of course, talking about Dr. Facilier. He reminds me of Rumpelstiltskin from Once Upon a Time.
That's a good analogy.
He reminds me of Rumpelstiltskin from Once Upon a Time a lot, especially with all of his deals and his coolness and just his mannerisms. Dude had style. He's terrifying and wicked and just all around evil, but dude had style. And voiced by Keith David spectacularly. Also, he had the first Disney villain song since Hellfire, and it is a genuine bop. Y'all went too hard on Friends on the Other Side. Songwriters, y'all went too hard on that song that it wound up overshadowing the rest of the admittedly wonderful album that is The Princess and the Frogs soundtrack.
Right.
Well done, Randy Newman.
Nice job.
But Dr. Facilier himself, he's a voodoo witch doctor, I guess would be the... Shadow Man is also something they call him. Keith David's deep and soulful and just utterly charming voice makes you be like, okay, maybe he's not gonna hurt us. Nope, help! He's one of those that flip-flops from charming to menacing really, really, really well and really quickly. The simple fact that he controls shadow ghosts for part of the film is also, another tick in his terror box.
I'm not sure I can go on. I'm getting scared.
His defeat, let's go with defeat.
Defeat.
At the end of the film is... Disney was going back to its horror roots a little bit. They used to not care how badly they scared kids. They went back to that a little bit at the end of Princess and the Frog for Dr. Facilier, and we appreciate it.
Coming in at number
6.
6.
So we're up to number 5. Top 5.
Top 5. You're really going to easily recognize, I suspect, all of these going forward. Now, we've got a surprise, I'm going to tell you. Coming in as one of the top 5, you may or may not remember this Disney villain. But again, it's terrifying scale, not necessarily evil scale. We come in at number 5 with Ursula from The Little Mermaid, the original animated. Now, I confess I've not seen the new one. I think the casting for that was exquisite.
With Melissa McCarthy.
Melissa McCarthy playing Ursula was probably one of the absolute best things Disney could have done. And I've seen clips, and she looks deliciously evil in that role.
Originally played by Pat Carroll, yes?
Yes, Pat Carroll, back in the original animated film. Now, we have a special place in our heart for The Little Mermaid. It came out the same year that our oldest daughter, Katie, was born. We bought the soundtrack, we bought the movie, we bought the this, that made me a lot of money at Hastings, da-da-da-da-da. So, we have an affinity for this film. So, Ursula is one of those incredibly evil characters who, ultimately is trying to do things in a selfish manner, but she doesn't come off with that until the very end of the film. You're not really 100% sure what her motivations are until the end of the film. So, Ursula the Sea Witch.
And then she grows to Godzilla sizes and you have very little doubt.
Yeah, you start thinking everybody's going to start talking in Japanese or something because she goes into Godzilla mode. So that's very, very good, Kristen. So we'll keep that. But Ursula from The Little Mermaid is our number 5.
All right, coming in at number 4, we have Jafar.
Prince Ali's adversary.
Yes, sir. Jafar has always scared me. Like, even when I was a little kid, he scared me because he has the mind control power.
Right.
Mind control is probably one of the scariest powers to give a villain.
And that pointy,
And the beard,
pointy goatee.
his design is, he's tall, he's skinny, and he's got the scary beard, which is the most unique design in Aladdin, because all the other characters are either very fit or they're pudgy. That's how they designed everybody in Aladdin. So making Jafar a skeleton with skin and facial hair is terrifying.
And I know
in
we
and of
weren't going to
itself.
talk about sidekicks, but Jafar's got one of the most endearing sidekicks in Iago, brilliantly played by Gilbert Gottfried, who recently passed away as well. So
either earlier this year or late last year.
yeah.
But yeah, Jafar is just, and here's the thing, he's the only one of the few villains on this list whose plan we know from the jump.
Yep.
And we get to watch as his evil schemings and machinations go through and succeed to a certain extent. And he's also one of those villains that has backup plans for backup plans for backup plans.
You see success after success, and you're beginning to wonder, is the hero going to win in the end of this film? He's deceptive, he's conniving, he has charm opportunities that are just creepy. So,
yes.
And he winds up living in itty bitty little space. Moving right along. Number 3. Top 3. Okay, are you sure you don't want to go get, something to comfort you with? Because we're really, really getting to the evilness of this whole thing. We know it's October. We know that it's kind of a spooky time anyway. So turn on the lights, make sure everything's bright, and go listen to Howard Jones or something happy after this is over with. So, number 3. Cruella de Vil. Cruella de Vil. Best evil theme song ever!
She's the only villain who actually has a theme song.
But she's insane!
Yes.
Who wants to make coats out of Dalmatian hides?
Puppies! Puppies! Not even the full-grown Dalmatian. She wants the puppies!
Crazy, crazy, crazy. I will, however, say that we are talking about the crazy Cruella de Vil from the animated.
Yes, we're not talking about Emma Stone.
Absolutely delicious
Yes.
in the Cruella movie. I love this film.
We continually will rave about Cruella starring Emma Stone, probably for the rest of Crossing Kin time. Dad was
the soundtrack is
we are not talking about live action Cruella. We are talking about animated Cruella.
Scary, insane, nutso, can't drive a car.
Smoke's green smoke. Like, it's green. Like, it's not.
Okay.
It's green.
If
I don't
you're
know
a
why
henchman,
there's smoke.
Why would you stand around for that abuse?
I mean, yeah, Jasper, Horace, I remember as a kid feeling sorry for them. Cruella is one of the, she slaps them! She physically commits abuse. She smacks them! And then runs her car into their truck at the end.
Just absolutely insane. It's just creepy, just crazy.
She is also one of the few Disney villains that does not perish at the end of her film.
That's true.
She survives her film. Whether or not she gets arrested is debatable. It depends on if you consider the animated sequel and the animated series afterwards canon. But she might have gone to jail. I don't.
Maybe we'll find out in the real life sequel.
The sequel to
Come on, Emma Stone, give us Cruella 2.
We're at our top 2 guys.
And this is the surprise. You may or may not even know this cat.
These 2 cats. We're at number 2.
Number 2.
All right, at number 2, we have the Headless Horseman.
We have his head right here.
Yeah, we found you a head, buddy.
We found your head.
You can come and get it whenever you want. But leave your scary, scary demon horse outside, please.
Please.
The Headless Horseman, he's from the Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad film. I did not want to be alone in my room for at least an hour after watching this movie for the first time a few months back when I watched it for our Disney ranking. Oh boy, Disney knew how to do horror back in the day.
This was one of those films that I wished I hadn't skipped church by faking I was sick to watch The Wonderful World of Disney. I mean, I wanted to see cute, cuddly Winnie the Pooh on the nights that Winnie the Pooh was on The Wonderful World of Disney, but they threw this sucker in, and terrifying. First Disney film to absolutely scare me out of my mind. Images, still to this day, whenever I'd hear Bing Crosby start singing, I was like, where is he?
Headless horseman, he's the worst.
Here we go.
But, and what's even more scary, dude doesn't have any lines. He doesn't speak.
Right.
But he has a wicked, high-pitched, devilish laugh. Like, this guy is a demon. I'm convinced he's a demon.
It's one of those. It is one of those incredibly. Make sure you have the lights on, unless you just like to be scared.
Obviously, he is based on the Headless Horseman from the original Sleepy Hollow book.
Right.
But him in his animation and holding the fiery pumpkin and the sword with the horse, the demon horse with the red eyes. Like, Disney, why did you want to scare
I just can't get over the image of the pumpkin headed my way. It's just terrifying.
Yep.
Number two.
Let's get on to number one before the Headless Horseman gives us nightmares.
Okay, now, again, this may or may not be a character that you are familiar with, which you are familiar. We have The Great Mouse Detective. We feel like is one of the most underrated Disney films ever. Disney animated films ever. The voice casting is incredible. The
animation is spectacular.
Fact that is Sherlock Holmes as a mouse. It is a great story. Go and watch The Great Mouse Detective.
I did find out that it was based off of a book called Basil of Baker Street.
That's cool.
I don't know who wrote it, but yeah, The Great Mouse Detective is in fact based off of a book.
Yeah, but the homage to Sherlock Holmes is absolutely there all the way through the film.
I figure Disney added all of the Sherlock Holmes homages, but I'm not entirely confident about that. For all I know, that's part of the book.
We could continue about The Great Mouse Detective. However, we are going to be good to you and tell you who the most scary,
the world's greatest criminal mind,
Ratigan, voiced by
Vincent Price,
one of the original scariest people ever.
This villain, what makes him more terrifying than any of the others to me, he presents himself as this very put together, suave. He matches wits with Basil. He's just as smart, if not, in his opinion, smarter than Basil. But near the end, as all of his great plans and machinations are beginning to unravel, so too does his mind.
He freaks out. Completely freaks out. Loses it. And the animators did such an incredible job of showing his freak out through his eyes going crazy colors and just his hair and just
his fur stands up on the back of his head.
Psychotic.
His claws come out. His suit is ripped to shreds. And you're just wanting to sit as far back in your chair as possible so that the evil rat does not come after you. Also, being called a rat is his trigger. He tends to feed his henchmen to his cat when they accidentally call him a rat.
Ratigan from The Great Mouse Detective is our number one scariest, evilest, most bad guy in Disney classic canon. So
that is our list.
So there you have it. Those are our top 10 with Ratigan from The Great Mouse Detective coming in at the number one scariest guy.
Did we get it right, or are we out of our minds for putting Ratigan at number one? Please be sure to let us know down in the comments below. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so that you are notified every time we upload.
And go back and check out some of our other videos here at Crossing Kin. We've got a slew of them out there by this point, and perhaps there's one or more that you've missed. Some of them, let's be face it, yeah, you need to pack your lunch for because they're a little bit longer. But check those out on the weekends when you've got a free hour and a half sometimes.
We've been going here at Cross Akin for a year now.
That's awesome.
At the time of this release, we are around, if not very close to, the year anniversary of Crossing Kin as a channel.
But that's us from the Crossing Kid Garage
We
with
will
the
see
evil people from Disney. I'm Randy.
And I'm Kristen. We'll see you in 2 weeks with another spooky offering. So be sure you come back. Bye.
Later.